I just touched a button now. The alien warrior thinks I proposed. The desert wind whipped across the excavation site, carrying ancient secrets in its dusty embrace. Marcus wiped the sweat from his brow as he carefully brushed sand away from what appeared to be a metallic surface buried deep in the archaeological dig. After 3 months in the remote Egyptian desert, his team had finally uncovered something extraordinary. "Professor Williams, you need to see this," called out his assistant, but Marcus was already transfixed by the object before him. It was unlike anything he had encountered in his 15 years of archaeological work. The surface gleamed with an otherworldly blue-green hue, completely untouched by time or corrosion. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the excavation site, Marcus found himself alone with the mysterious artifact. His team had returned to base camp, but something compelled him to stay. The object seemed to pulse with an inner light, growing brighter as darkness fell. The device was roughly the size of a small table, covered in intricate symbols that seemed to shift and change when he wasn't looking directly at them. At its center sat a crystalline button that glowed with soft, inviting warmth. Marcus had spent years studying ancient civilizations, but nothing in human history matched this level of sophistication. His fingers trembled as he reached toward the crystal. Every instinct told him to wait, to photograph everything, to follow proper archaeological protocol. But the device called to him with an irresistible pull, as if it had been waiting centuries for this exact moment. The moment his fingertip made contact with the crystal button, the world exploded into sensation. Light burst from the device, engulfing Marcus in waves of energy that seemed to penetrate every cell of his body. He felt his consciousness expanding, reaching across impossible distances through space and time. Suddenly, he was no longer alone in his mind. Who dares touch the sacred binding stone? The voice that thundered through his thoughts was unmistakably feminine, filled with power and barely contained fury. "Show yourself, coward. Face me with honor." Marcus tried to speak, but found he could only communicate through thought. "I don't understand. I'm an archaeologist. I found this device buried in the desert." The presence in his mind seemed to pause, confusion replacing anger. "Archaeologist, you study the remnants of the dead? You have touched the Zilithian bonding crystal? By the laws of my people, you have proposed the sacred union." Sacred union? Marcus's heart began racing as the implications hit him. "You mean marriage? No, wait, I didn't mean to propose anything. I was just examining an artifact." But even as he protested, Marcus could sense something else flowing through their connection. Images flashed through his mind, visions of a woman, unlike any he had ever seen. She was tall and statuesque, with skin that held a subtle silver luminescence. Her hair cascaded in waves of deep purple, and her eyes blazed with the intensity of twin stars. She wore armor that seemed to be crafted from liquid metal, and every line of her form spoke of deadly grace. "I am Zara, of the House of Valthera, warrior of the 7th Fleet, daughter of the Star Crown." Her mental voice had softened slightly, though it still carried unmistakable authority. "And you, strange creature, have just bound your essence to mine through the most sacred ritual of my people." Marcus felt his knees grow weak as the full weight of his mistake crashed down upon him. "I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Is there a way to undo this?" Through their connection, he sensed Zara's own confusion and something else. A flutter of curiosity about this unexpected development. The bonding crystal has never been activated by an alien species before. The connection runs deeper than I anticipated. As their minds touched, Marcus experienced flashes of Zara's memories. He saw vast ships sailing between the stars' worlds, of incredible beauty and a warrior culture built on honor and strength. But he also sensed her loneliness, the burden of duty that had kept her from finding love within her own people. "Your mind is different," Zara admitted, her mental tone growing warmer. "There is a gentleness there, and curiosity. These are not traits valued among Valtherian males." Marcus found himself sharing his own memories in return. His passion for uncovering the mysteries of the past, his wonder at discovering new civilizations. Through their bond, Zara experienced his awe and respect for ancient cultures. His careful dedication to preserving knowledge. "You honor the dead by remembering their stories," she observed with something approaching admiration. "This is unexpected in a proposed mate." The crystal began to pulse more rapidly. Marcus felt the connection between them growing stronger. Whatever ancient technology had created this device, it was working exactly as designed, binding two souls across the vast emptiness of space. Zara, Marcus thought desperately. Whatever this device is doing to us, we need to figure out how to stop it before things go too far. But even as he spoke the words, Marcus realized he wasn't entirely certain he wanted the connection to end. For the first time in his life, he felt truly understood by another being. Even if that being happened to be an alien warrior who thought he had just proposed marriage, the night desert around him began to shimmer and fade as the device's power reached its crescendo. Marcus felt the world dissolve around him as the alien device's energy reached its peak. The familiar desert sands vanished, replaced by surfaces of gleaming metal and soft pulsing lights. He found himself standing in what could only be described as a spaceship. Though unlike anything from Earth's science fiction, the chamber was vast. With curved walls that seemed to flow like liquid mercury, bioluminescent panels provided gentle illumination, and the air itself seemed to hum with advanced technology. But Marcus barely had time to take in his surroundings before he heard approaching footsteps. "Do not move suddenly," Zara's voice echoed. In his mind, a crew has been alerted to the bonding activation. "They believe you are my chosen mate." Before Marcus could respond, a group of beings entered the chamber. They were clearly of the same species as Zara, tall and graceful with that same subtle luminescence to their skin. Their armor was less ornate than hers, marking them as subordinates, but no less impressive. "Commander Zara," one of them spoke in a melodic language that Marcus somehow understood through their mental link. "The bonding crystal has been activated. Shall we prepare the celebration chambers?" Zara materialized from the shadows, and Marcus felt his breath catch. Seeing her in person was entirely different from the mental images they had shared. She moved with the fluid grace of a predator, every step controlled and purposeful. Her purple hair caught the ship's ambient light, and her silver skin seemed to glow from within. "Yes," she replied after a moment's hesitation. "Prepare the chambers. But first, I must speak with my intended." The crew members exchanged glances of barely concealed excitement before bowing and departing. Marcus found himself alone with the alien warrior, who apparently thought they were engaged. "This is really happening," Marcus whispered, still struggling to process his situation. Zara approached him slowly, studying his form with obvious curiosity. "You are smaller than I expected," she admitted. "Your skin lacks the traditional warrior markings. Are all males of your species so ... delicate?" Marcus felt a flush of embarrassment. "Not exactly a warrior. I spend most of my time in libraries and dig sites." Through their bond, he sensed Zara's confusion. Among her people, strength and combat prowess were the primary qualities sought. In a mate, the concept of a scholar was foreign to her warrior culture. "Yet you activated the bonding crystal," she mused, circling him like a predator evaluating prey. Only one with true courage would dare touch such a sacred artifact. "It was actually just curiosity," Marcus admitted. "I had no idea what it would do." Zara paused in her circling, her luminous eyes meeting his. "Curiosity?" She repeated the word as if tasting something foreign. "Among my people, such impulses are considered dangerous weaknesses." But through their mental connection, Marcus sensed that Zara didn't entirely believe her own words. He caught glimpses of her secret fascination with the unknown, carefully, hidden beneath layers of warrior discipline. "Perhaps," Marcus said carefully, "curiosity isn't always a weakness. It led me to discover your people's technology. It brought us together." Zara's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "The bonding crystal chooses its own timing. My grandmother always said it would only activate when the right pairing approached it. But she never mentioned the possibility of an alien mate." Ship around them hummed with activity as the crew prepared for what they believed would be a celebration. Marcus could hear voices in the corridors, excited discussions about their commander's unexpected bonding. Zara, Marcus said gently. Need you to understand something? In my culture, marriage is a choice made by both people involved. I never intended to propose anything. I was just examining what I thought was an ancient artifact. Through their link, he felt Zara's internal struggle, her duty to her people's traditions, warred with a growing recognition that this situation wasn't what it appeared to be. Crystal responded to you, she pointed out. It has been in my family for generations, waiting for the right moment. Surely that means something. Marcus moved closer, noting how her hand instinctively moved to the weapon at her side before she consciously relaxed. Maybe it does mean something. But shouldn't we figure out what that is before we let your crew plan a wedding? For the first time since their connection began, Zara smiled. The expression transformed her entire face, revealing a warmth that her warrior facade had hidden. You speak wisdom, strange Marcus of Earth, she said. Very well. We shall tell my crew that the bonding requires a period of traditional courtship. This will give us time to understand what the crystal has truly done to us. As she spoke, Marcus felt their mental bond pulse with warmth. The ancient device had created between them, it was growing stronger with each passing moment. He found himself studying the elegant curve of her neck, the way her armor accentuated her powerful form. The courtship period will require us to share quarters, Zara continued, seemingly unaware of his wandering thoughts. It is traditional for bonded pairs to learn each other's ways before the final ceremony. Marcus's pulse quickened at the implications, but he managed to nod calmly. That sounds ... reasonable. Through their connection, he caught Zara's own flutter of anticipation, quickly suppressed, but unmistakably present. Whatever was happening between them, they were both feeling its effects. Chamber doors opened again, and Zara's second-in-command entered with a ceremonial expression. Commander, the celebration chambers are prepared. Shall we begin their traditional feast? Zara straightened, slipping back into her commanding persona. There will be a courtship period first, as is proper when bonding with an unknown species. Prepare private quarters for my intended and myself. As the subordinate hurried away to carry out her orders, Zara turned back to Marcus with an expression that was equal parts warrior and woman. This should be interesting, she murmured, and through their bond, Marcus felt her curiosity finally beginning to overcome her caution. The private quarters Zara's crew prepared exceeded anything Marcus had imagined possible on a spacecraft. The rooms flowed together in organic curves, with walls that could shift from transparent to opaque at a spoken command. Bioluminescent. Plants provided soft living light, and the furniture seemed to reshape itself according to need. Your people's technology is incredible, Marcus breathed. Running his hand along a wall that felt warm and almost alive beneath his touch, Zara watched, his wonder with growing fascination. You truly find pleasure in understanding new things, she observed. Among my people, the unknown is something to be conquered, not explored. Over the following days, their forced cohabitation revealed layers to both their personalities that surprised them. Marcus discovered that beneath Zara's warrior exterior lay a sharp intellect and carefully hidden artistic sensibilities. She had created beautiful sculptures from metal and crystal, hidden away in her personal storage compartments. Shown these to anyone, she admitted one evening, her usual confidence replaced by vulnerable uncertainty. Warriors are not supposed to create beauty, only destroy obstacles to victory. Marcus held one of her sculptures, a flowing representation of stellar formations that captured the dance of galaxies. This is extraordinary. You have real talent. Through their mental bond, he felt her pleasure at his praise, a warmth that had nothing to do with their artificial connection and everything to do with genuine appreciation. Your mind holds so many stories, Zara said, settling beside him on the adaptive furniture. Through our link, I can see the civilizations you've studied, each one different, each one precious to you. Their evenings began to follow a pattern. They would share meals while discussing their respective cultures, then spend hours exploring the mental connection that grew stronger each day. Marcus learned that Veltharian society was built on strict hierarchies and honor codes, where individual desires were secondary to duty and strength. I was promised to Commander Thyros of the battle fleet before I reached adult age. Zara revealed one night, her mental voice tinged with old resentment. He is everything a Veltharian warrior should be, ruthless, powerful, completely focused on conquest. But not what you want in a partner, Marcus observed, gently. Through their link, he felt her surprise at the concept. Want was never a consideration. Veltharian unions are about strengthening bloodlines and political alliances. What about love? Marcus asked. The word translated strangely through their connection, carrying concepts that seemed foreign to Zara's experience. Love is ... weakness. Distraction. It makes warriors vulnerable. But even as she spoke the traditional words, Marcus sensed her doubt. Their growing intimacy was showing her possibilities she had never imagined. One evening, as they sat together, watching the stars stream past the chamber's transparent wall, Zara made a startling admission. I have been receiving communications from the fleet, she said quietly. Thyros is demanding explanations for my delay in returning. He grows suspicious. Of this courtship period, Marcus felt a stab of something that might have been jealousy. What will you tell him? I don't know, Zara admitted, turning to face him. The bonding crystal has changed something fundamental between us. I can feel your emotions as clearly as my own. When you're happy, I feel joy. When you're troubled, it disturbs my peace. Their eyes met, and Marcus saw his own conflicted feelings reflected in her luminous gaze. What had started as an accident was becoming something neither of them had expected. Zara, he said softly, reaching out to touch her hand. Her skin was warm despite its silver luminescence, and he felt her pulse quicken at the contact. This is dangerous, she whispered, but she didn't pull away. Thyros discovers that my feelings have become ... compromised ... Then we don't let him discover it, Marcus replied, moving closer. Not until we figure out what this bond really means. The space between them seemed to crackle with tension. Through their mental link, Marcus could feel Zara's internal battle between duty and desire. Her warrior training warred with emotions she had never been allowed to explore. In my world, Marcus said gently, we believe that love makes people stronger, not weaker. It gives them something worth fighting for. Zara's breath caught as his fingers traced along her jaw. Your world sounds like a dream, she murmured. Maybe it doesn't have to stay a dream, Marcus whispered, leaning closer until their foreheads touched. The mental bond between them flared with shared sensation as their lips met. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, but quickly deepened. As years of suppressed longing poured through their connection, Marcus felt Zara's surprise at the tenderness, so different from the aggressive displays of dominance she had known among her own people. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily. This changes everything, Zara said, her voice shaking slightly. Does it have to? Marcus asked, still holding her close. Maybe the bonding crystal knew something we didn't. Maybe it saw possibilities neither of our cultures could imagine. Through their link, he felt her hope warring with fear. The Veltharian in her demanded duty and tradition, but the woman was beginning to dream of freedom and choice. Thyros will come for me, she warned. When he does, he will not hesitate to kill you. To claim what he believes is his. Marcus felt a chill at her words, but also a determination he hadn't known he possessed. Then we'll face that when it happens. Together. Zara studied his face, seeing something there that surprised her. You would fight for this? For us? Would fight for you, Marcus corrected, and through their bond? She felt the absolute truth of his words. For the first time in her life, Zara understood what it meant to be chosen rather than claimed. The feeling was intoxicating and terrifying in equal measure, as they held each other beneath the light of alien stars. Both knew that their time of hiding was coming to an end. Soon, they would have to face the consequences of their growing love and decide whether their bond was worth fighting for. The alarm that pierced through the ship's gentle hum brought both Marcus and Zara instantly awake. Red lights bathed their quarters as Zara's second-in-command's voice crackled through the communication system. Commander, we have incoming vessels. 3 battle cruisers bearing the markings of Fleet Commander Thyros. Zara was on her feet immediately, her warrior instincts taking over. Through their mental bond, Marcus felt her fear, not for herself but for him. He comes earlier than expected, she said grimly, reaching for her ceremonial armor. Marcus, you must understand, Thyros is not known for his patience or his mercy. Marcus rose as well, his heart pounding. What does this mean for us? It means our time of peace is over, Zara replied, her voice heavy with resignation. Veltharian? Law, he has the right to challenge any perceived threat to our betrothal contract. The ship shuddered slightly as the incoming vessels established docking procedures. Through the transparent walls, Marcus could see the approaching fleet. Their ships bristling with weapons and bearing the aggressive lines of pure military design. Commander, the communication system crackled again. Fleet Commander Thyros' requests. Immediate audience, he is... displeased. Zara finished donning her armor. Transforming from the vulnerable woman Marcus had come to love into the formidable warrior her people expected. But through their bond he could still feel her turmoil. Stay. Here, she commanded. Do not reveal yourself until I understand his intentions. But Marcus caught her arm as she headed for the door. We face this together, remember? This is different, Zara insisted, her eyes reflecting both love and terror. If he sees you as a rival, Veltharian honor code demands single combat to the death. Implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. Then we explain the misunderstanding. Tell him about the accidental activation of the crystal. Through their link, he felt Zara's bitter laugh. Thyros will not care about accidents. He will only see another male who has touched what he considers his property. The chamber doors opened with a soft hiss, and Zara's crew entered in formal formation. Behind them strode a figure that made Marcus's blood run cold. Fleet. Commander Thyros was everything Zara had described, and more. He stood nearly 7 feet tall, his silver skin marked with ritual scars that spoke of countless battles. His armor was black metal adorned with the bones of conquered enemies, and his eyes held the cold calculation of a born predator. Zara, his voice was like grinding stone. You have kept me waiting long enough. Thyros, Zara replied, her own voice carefully. Controlled. You arrive unannounced. I arrived to claim what was promised to me, Thyros corrected, his gaze sweeping the chamber before settling on Marcus with unmistakable hostility. And I find my intended sharing quarters with an alien pet. Marcus felt anger flare through there. Bond, both his own and Zara's. But she maintained her composure. This is Marcus of Earth, she said formally. He accidentally activated the bonding crystal during his archaeological research. We have been attempting to understand the implications. Thyros's laugh was harsh and humorless. Accidentally, he moved closer to Marcus, studying him like a specimen. Do you take me for a fool, Zara? No one accidentally activates a bonding crystal? Through their link, Marcus felt Zara's internal struggle. She could reveal the truth about their growing feelings and watch Marcus die in combat he couldn't possibly win, or continue the deception and hope to find another solution. The crystal chose him, she said carefully. Ancient technology operates by its own laws. Then we shall let ancient law decide, Thyros declared, drawing a curved blade that seemed to drink in the chamber's light. I challenge this alien for the right to your bond, single combat, as is traditional. Zara stepped between them, her own weapon appearing in her hand. I will not allow it. The temperature in the room seemed to drop as Thyros' expression turned deadly. You would defend this creature against your lawful mate? I would defend my right to choose, Zara replied, her voice ringing with newfound conviction. The silence that followed was electric with tension. Marcus could feel the shock radiating from Zara's crew and the murderous rage building in Thyros. Choose. Thyros repeated the word as if it tasted foul. You were promised to me before birth. There is no choice in duty? Then perhaps duty needs to change, Zara said. Raising her blade, Marcus watched in horror as the two Veltharians faced each other, weapons drawn. Through their bond, he felt Zara's determination and her fear, not for herself, but for what her defiance might cost. I won't let you fight my battles, Marcus said, stepping forward despite the danger. If he wants a challenge, he'll get one. Both Veltharians turned to stare at him in surprise. Marcus, no. Zara's mental voice was filled with panic. He will kill you in moments. Maybe, Marcus admitted, but I won't hide while you risk your life for my sake. Thyros's scarred face split in a cruel grin. The pet has courage, at least. Very well, alien. We will settle this according to the old ways. Tomorrow at first watch, we fight. Winner takes the female. Winner earns the right to court her, Marcus corrected firmly. Zara isn't property to be won or lost. The alien concepts in Marcus's words seemed to confuse Thyros momentarily, but then his expression hardened further. We shall see, he growled, then turned to Zara. Prepare yourself for disappointment, my intended. Your pet will not survive to see another sunset. As Thyros and his entourage departed, Marcus felt his knees go weak. Through their bond, Zara's anguish washed over him like a tide. You cannot do this, she whispered, throwing her arms around him. He has trained for combat since childhood. He has killed hundreds of enemies. Then teach me, Marcus said simply. We have until tomorrow. Show me how to fight like a Veltharian. Through their mental link, he felt her desperate hope warring with stark reality. But as she looked into his eyes, she saw the same determination that had driven him to uncover ancient mysteries and brave unknown dangers. If we do this, she said quietly, there's no going back. Win or lose, we'll have declared ourselves too. The entire fleet. Marcus cupped her face gently in his hands. I'm not going anywhere, Zara. Whatever happens, we face it together. As they held each other in the soft light of alien stars, both knew that tomorrow would either seal their love or destroy it forever. The combat arena aboard Thyros's flagship was a circle of polished metal surrounded by towering walls that rose toward an open ceiling showing the starfield beyond. Marcus stood at one edge, wearing adapted Veltharian armor that felt alien against his skin, while across from him, Thyros performed ritual combat stretches with the casual confidence of someone who had never lost. You still have time to yield, Thyros called out, his voice echoing in the arena. Surrender your claim, and I will grant you a quick death. Marcus tested the weight of the curved blade Zara had given him, its balance unfamiliar but surprisingly comfortable. Through their mental bond, he could feel her anxiety as she watched from the observation deck, with what seemed like half the Veltharian fleet. I'm not surrendering anything, Marcus replied, surprised by the steadiness in his own voice. The night before had been a blur of desperate training as Zara attempted to compress years of warrior education into a few hours. She had shown him basic defensive positions, how to read an opponent's movements, and most importantly, how to think like a fighter rather than a scholar. Veltharian combat is about more than strength, she had explained, her hands guiding his grip on the weapon. It's about understanding your opponent's mind, finding the patterns in their attack. Now, as the ritual horn sounded to begin the combat, Marcus tried to remember her lessons while facing an opponent who looked like he could tear him apart with his bare hands. Thyros moved first, his blade describing a silver arc through the air as he closed the distance between them with startling speed. Marcus barely managed to get his weapon up in time, the impact sending shockwaves up his arms. Pathetic, Thyros growled, pressing his attack with a series of strikes that forced Marcus backward around the arena's edge. But as the fight continued, something unexpected began to happen. Through their mental bond, Marcus could feel Zara's knowledge and instincts flowing into his consciousness. Her years of training became his experience. Her understanding of Veltharian combat patterns guided his responses. When Thyros launched into a traditional attack sequence, Marcus found himself anticipating the moves, his blade meeting each strike with increasing confidence. The larger warrior's expression shifted from contempt to mild surprise. Interesting, Thyros admitted, stepping back to reassess his opponent. The female has been teaching you. But borrowed skill cannot replace a lifetime of battle. He was right, of course. Marcus could feel his strength beginning to flag while Thyros barely seemed winded. But through their bond, he also sensed something else, Zara's absolute faith in him. Her love giving him strength he didn't know he possessed. The tide of battle shifted when Marcus stopped trying to fight like a Veltharian and started fighting like himself. Instead of meeting Thyros's powerful strikes head-on, began to use his smaller size and archaeological training to his advantage. Years of careful excavation had given him patience and precision that served him well in avoiding the killing blows while landing careful strikes of his own. Stand still and fight. Thyros roared in frustration as Marcus evaded another crushing attack. Why? Marcus panted, scoring a shallow cut across his opponent's arm. You're bigger and stronger. I'd be an idiot to fight your fight. Through their bond, he felt Zara's fierce pride at his adaptation. Her people valued strength and directness, but Marcus was showing them that intelligence and creativity could be weapons too. The turning point came when Thyros, growing increasingly frustrated, overcommitted to a massive overhead strike. Marcus sidestepped at the last moment, letting the blade embed itself in the arena floor while he brought his own weapon to rest against Thyros' throat. The silence that followed was absolute. Yield, Marcus said quietly, his blade steady despite his exhaustion. Thyros' eyes blazed with fury, but he was trapped by his own momentum and the ceremonial laws of his people. I yield, he growled through gritted teeth. The arena erupted in shocked murmurs as Marcus stepped back, offering his hand to help his opponent rise. Thyros stared at the gesture in confusion before reluctantly accepting it. You fight with honor? Thyros admitted grudgingly. I did not expect this from an alien. Maybe that's something your people should reconsider, Marcus replied, judging others by their species rather than their character. As the crowd dispersed, buzzing with discussion about the unprecedented outcome, Zara rushed to Marcus's side. Through their bond, her joy and relief washed over him like a warm tide. I can't believe you actually won, she whispered, throwing her arms around him. Won, Marcus corrected, holding her close. I couldn't have done it without our connection. Their celebration was interrupted by an unexpected discovery. The bonding crystal, which had remained in Zara's quarters throughout the combat, began to pulse with new energy. When they returned to examine it, the device projected a holographic message in ancient Veltharian script. It's from the original creators, Zara breathed as she translated. They left this message for future generations who might discover the crystal's true purpose. The hologram showed two figures, clearly of different species, standing together before a backdrop of stars. The message spoke of an ancient alliance between races, a bond forged not through domination, but through understanding and love. Crystal wasn't designed for Veltharian bonding rituals, Marcus realized. It was meant to create connections between different species, to bridge the gaps between civilizations. Zara nodded, her eyes wide with understanding. Our people adapted. It's technology for their own purposes, but they never understood its true meaning. As the implications sank in, both realized that their accidental connection had revealed something profound about the possibilities for cooperation between their peoples. The device had chosen them not as mates in the traditional sense, but as ambassadors for a new kind of relationship between humans and Veltharians. So what happens now? Marcus asked, looking out at the starfield beyond their quarters. Zara smiled, her hand finding his. Now we choose our own path. Together. The mental bond between them pulsed with warmth and possibility as they contemplated. A future built on love rather than conquest, understanding rather than domination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as partners in the truest sense. It's their connection, a bridge between worlds, and proof that sometimes the most important discoveries happen entirely by accident. In the distance, Earth and Velthara waited to learn about the new alliance their love would forge among the stars.